This is more of my childhood collection than an actual haul. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. I just saw my family this weekend. They drove out west and I begged them to bring me a bunch of stuff, including some old vintage. I say vintage because it's only like maybe 30 years old for one of them, and then a couple of them are like 15 to 20-ish years old. Really showing my age, but they are some old game consoles plus a old board game that I absolutely used to love to play. I haven't played it in probably 15 years since it first came out. And then some DVDs and VHS tapes, which I'm going to go through first because there's not very many of them and I really want to go into the vintage game consoles that I have. So the first are two DVDs. One is Click, probably one of my last favorite Adam Sandler movies, like one of his last good ones in my opinion. I really love original Adam Sandler, like old original Adam Sandler, classic Adam Sandler, like Big Daddy and Happy Gilmore and things like that. So this is probably one of my last favorite ones of his. I haven't watched this in forever, but I do remember it being a good one, and it was really fun and sad and heartbreaking, which is kind of weird, but for an Adam Sandler movie. Besides Spanglish, I think he did Spanglish, yeah. That one, I think I've heard, is a kind of a heartbreaker. And then the last DVD, because I only had two, was one of probably my favorite Lindsay Lohan movies. That wasn't Mean Girls. Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. I get the song that she sings in this stuck in my head all the time. And Megan Fox is in this, and I forget that Megan Fox is in this all the time. And gosh, who else is in this? Allison Pill and Carol Kane. Carol Kane, if you don't know who she is the neighbor from Kimmy Schmidt. And if you don't know Allison Pill, she's probably one of my favorite characters in Scott Pilgrim. She plays the drummer in his band. I don't know the name. I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she's really great in Scott Pilgrim, and I absolutely love her in this because she plays kind of a quiet, timid person compared to Lindsay Lohan's very outlandish drama queen. And now for a couple VHSs. The first one is one of my favorite movies as a kid, The Truman Show. This movie, I remember seeing, if you haven't seen this is kind of a spoiler, but The Truman Show is now, how old? This movie is 20 years old. 20 years old. I remember seeing this when it was on probably like USA or something. I was just flipping through channels and I stopped on this movie where Jim Carrey was there and he was driving through, actually it was Jim Carrey and Laura Linney. They were in the car driving. He was driving like a crazy person because he was he was kind of figuring out that he was in a movie. Spoiler alert for the entire movie. But he was driving through this like forest thing and there's just fires randomly breaking out that they're setting off. And I just remember that and that really stuck in my head. So when I actually found this movie, I think it was at the library a long time ago. I bought it for like $1 or something, and it just really stuck with me. I didn't realize that it was the same movie when I found it at the library. I was like, oh, Jim Carrey, I love him, and this looks kind of like a good movie, so I picked it up and love this movie. And now a lot of these are movies that I haven't watched in years because they are one, VHS tapes, and the only VHS player we had, the only VCR we had in my parents' house was mine, and I don't know why I never really watched it when I had it. The first one is one that used to be my favorite growing up, mostly because it was also my dad's favorite, and it's a Sherlock Holmes-y kind of movie. He loves Sherlock Holmes, The Great Mouse Detective. It is definitely a very Sherlock Holmes-esque movie with mice. This is a Disney classic that if you have not seen and you are a fan of Disney, I don't know what you're doing because this is such a very underrated, great movie. The next is a little bit of a compilation movie before like compilation videos are really a thing. Disney put out this movie. It's kind of like Fantasia, but it's just random songs. It's Melody Time. They have another one, I think, very similar to this, but I don't remember what it is. But this has just a bunch of different songs from random Disney kind of movies. Not really movies. They're more just like kind of short, maybe 5 to 10 minute clips. I think they even have a Fantasia clip in here. Probably one of my favorites was Pecos Bill. If you've ever seen the Pecos Bill video, it might be on YouTube. I don't know. It might not be. I think there's another one where it's more just like cartoons that I really want to get. It's like a Mickey Mouse one, and there's this cartoon on that one that I just absolutely love. It's Donald, Mickey, and Goofy are in a trailer, and it's just hilarious. Hijinks ensue. So I will probably have that one when I come back home from Christmas, and that will definitely be in the haul that I show then. And the next couple ones are movies that, if you are my age and you are a girl, you will probably really like these, or you will know what they are. I think I have them, they're not in order, but I thought I had them in order of the age, but there are 3 different Mary-Kate and Ashley movies. The first one is Billboard Dad. I think this is probably one of my favorites of the Mary-Kate and Ashley, not the Mary-Kate and Ashley detective movies, or kind of the ones where they were younger, like not Hocus Pocus. There was a Halloween one, it's like To Your Grandmother's House We Go, but that's the Christmas one. Maybe it was like, they called it Hocus Pocus even though there was a Hocus Pocus movie. I don't know. I don't really remember watching much of like the younger ones, like the Mary-Kate and Ashley Adventures, or I did watch the one where that pizza party meme came from. I think I used to have that one. It's like Mary-Kate and Ashley Sleepover, but I like these a lot better. I have Billboard Dad, Holiday in the Sun, and Passport to Paris. These are probably 3 of the ones that I watched the most. This one has what's his face. This Megan Fox is also in this movie. Maybe a little bit of a theme. Megan Fox is in 2 of these movies. I just remember really loving these. I also had one of their last ones like this was When in Rome. I have that on DVD. Well, my sisters actually have it. They actually brought it with them, unknowingly knowing that they knew that I brought or wanted to bring home a bunch of Mary-Kate and Ashley movies, but they kept When in Rome, which wasn't really my favorite. It's not that great. There was a couple other ones that they had, like Switching Goals, I think was a soccer one, and there was a bunch. They had a bunch, but those were 3 of my favorites. And then the last VHS tape is Spy Kids. This is a classic. I don't really like the second or the third one. This one is probably the one that I have watched the most. And actually, it's the one I have watched the most because I've only seen the third one maybe twice all the way through. I watched it when it was in theaters because it was in 3D. And then it's on Disney Channel sometimes, or Disney XD, and if I'm flipping through channels and there's nothing else on, I'll just leave it on in the background. Maybe it's on Freeform sometimes. And I think I've only seen the second one. I've seen the second one a couple times because Emily Osment's in that. I remember, I love Spy Kids. I will watch it anytime it's on TV, but now I can watch it whenever I want. So those are all of the movies that I brought. Now I'm going to do some of the vintage video games that I have. The first one is this Game Boy Color. It still works. I was playing it yesterday when I got home. The only thing is though that when you turn it on, there's like this line that goes through the middle, like there's broken pixels, but I loved this thing to death and I am so happy to have it back. It's the clear purple one. If you can't tell, it's probably not going to focus. I don't really want to spend time trying to focus this, but clear purple one, this is my favorite. I spent many a day playing the Pokemon games on this, and I do have a bunch of games that I will go through in just a minute because I also have the Game Boy Advanced SP. I did have some like magic markers that I drew on it, but this one is the one with the backlight. I don't think this is charged. Oh, it is. There's no game in it right now, but it has the backlight, and I actually really love this. I probably will play this more because this is rechargeable. I don't have to get batteries for this versus this one, but this one it's hard to see if you don't have like direct light. So I will probably be playing these. I will probably take these on an airplane with me to play with them when I fly back to my parents' house at Christmas. So now for the games. I have a lot of games. They are all in this thing, plus I have 2 kind of sitting out here. These are Game Boy Color games. Winnie the Pooh, which this one is probably eons old, 2000, 18 years old. And then Pong, classic Pong. I love it so much, although I'm horrible at Pong, unsurprisingly. And then I have this whole thing of Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games. So I'll just go from the front to the back because they're in kind of an order that I would play them in the most. So first, I have the first 4 Harry Potter games. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, I think I finished this one completely. And Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, I don't think I finished this one. I could not get through it. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, this is a Game Boy Advanced game, and this one I could not get through. Every time I got to fighting Lupin as a werewolf, I could not. He is so powerful. And then I finally have the last Harry Potter game that I got for Game Boy Advance. It's Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This one I remember being really hard. I don't think I ever got past the second level, or like the second, I don't think I even got to like the Yule Ball or whatever. I don't know how much. I haven't played these in years. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 for Game Boy Color, and then I also have Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 for Game Boy Advance. Yes, they have the same name, but they are very different games, I will tell you that. I also have Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 for Game Boy Advance, and Tony Hawk Underground 2. So as you can probably tell, when I was younger, when I was a teen in high school, or 2004 when I was in 8th grade, freshman in high school, dating myself, I was very into skateboarding and X Games and things like that. Tony Hawk was probably my favorite person on the planet. Now it goes into some Pokemon trading card for Game Boy. Maybe this is Game Boy Color. I think it's Game Boy Color, but I remember playing this game quite a bit. I was actually pretty decent at it. There's also Pokemon Silver. I really liked it and I got pretty far on it. I think I only beat 1 gym though. Then I have only 2 more Game Boy games. Last Game Boy Advance game is The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. This one was so much fun. You definitely have to play as Legolas because he has the arrows. Sometimes I would play as Aragorn, but because I was a very big fan of Legolas and Orlando Bloom, I always played as him. And the final game is Croc. I don't remember much of this game, and I wish I had the means to screen capture some playing of this, but I just remember it being kind of a fun, cute, little adorable game. And then now for the big guns. First, I'm going to show this game. This is the Harry Potter trivia game. This is only for Sorcerer's Stone. I really love this. I'm not going to take the whole thing apart, but I will do a little unboxing-ish kind of thing. This is the board. It kind of just basically looks like the picture on here. You can see that. And then dice and little hats that you use to play, kind of like this. There's like silver and gray and black and white and gold and bronze. And then there's these where you get your house cards, and it's like a house card, but it's kind of, I don't remember how to play the game. Normally I would just take these trivia cards and quiz myself on my Harry Potter knowledge. So that's pretty much this whole box. If you want to see inside of it, it looks a little like that. I know, this is so thrilling. You guys really are just here to see the next thing that I'm going to be showing you, which is probably the thumbnail, and that is my Nintendo. This is the NES. Oh, there's still games in here. This is the classic NES. It is very gross, kind of dirty, but this was my dad's before I was even born, I think. I think this came out in '90, so my parents had this like just as I was born kind of thing. But surprisingly, I think my mom has the high score on one of these games. So I'm not gonna unbox all of this. I have a shoebox here full of stuff that goes with this NES. The first game is probably my absolute favorite, Dr. Mario. I actually spent probably 3 hours one day, probably like 5 years ago, completely beating this and then continuing to go, and I'm really proud of myself for that. And next is the classic Duck Hunt with the Super Mario Brothers. I do have the Duck Hunt gun, but it's a tangle of mess with all of the cables to connect this to the TV and the other controllers. So I'm not going to pull that out, but I do have the gun for Duck Hunt because you can't really play Duck Hunt without that gun. So Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers. And then I do have Super Mario Brothers 2 as well, which I liked Super Mario Brothers 2 more than I liked actual Super Mario Brothers. I think if I ever stuck this in, I would be playing Duck Hunt and then I would play Super Mario Brothers. And then this one is probably my favorite looking, but I'm really bad at it. My mom has the highest score on this last time I checked. This is The Legend of Zelda. I'm really bad at this. I may take the time sometime to kind of get the hang of it, play a little bit of it, maybe since I'm a little bit older, because I haven't probably tried to play this since I was maybe 12. That was, oh wow, 12, 16 years ago. Yeah, 16 years ago. So I've tried to play Zelda, but I've played the rest of these plenty of times. I think actually that is everything that I have to show you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this fun little haul. I couldn't think of an idea to do today, and I just had gotten all of this stuff and I was like, you know what? I love doing hauls. I love showing you guys bits of my collection, even though I feel like all I've been doing recently is hauls and reaction videos, but I love doing them and I feel like you guys really enjoyed them, so I will continue to do them. I have another one coming up next week, my monthly haul, so I really hope you guys enjoy these. Let me know what some of your favorite childhood video games and movies are in the comments down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate every single one of you. Let me know who you are in the comments down below and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking all things movies, TV shows, filmmaking, film history, and giving you guys some hauls. I'll see you next time. Bye!